Today, I'm going to just share with you some of what has affected me in my career. I almost died when I found out what I really loved in life. I was in Pakistan. I was climbing the 13th highest mountain in the world, Gasherbrum 2, when an avalanche came towards us as we were climbing. All of us were running away. Obviously, we were very afraid. But as the avalanche struck and came towards us, I actually took out my camera, took a photo, and when I looked back, I realized that instinctively, photography to me is more than just a hobby. It's a way of life, and it's what I really want to achieve for the rest of my life here. I've been very fortunate. I've been on many Himalayan expeditions. This was just last October, where I followed a group of Swiss scientists for Geo magazine to climb a 7,000-meter mountain where they were doing extensive medical testing at high altitude. At the age of 25, almost 10 years ago, I was very lucky. I stood on the summit of Mount Everest. And that really started my career, because through the opportunity, I realized that with a lot of perseverance and quite a bit of luck, you find that you can achieve certain dreams. And that was the path I took on to continue the rest, because from there I decided that I wanted to be a professional photographer. On the beginning, of course, it's very tough, you know. As we can see, there are a lot of photographers in this room today. And the market is competitive. I knew no one. But I just tried as hard as I could. And along the way, I had some opportunities. I had the pleasure of photographing some of the most influential people of our time. I've been living in Beijing for the last 6 years. And this is Zhang Xing, where we photographed her in Galaxy Soho, one of the properties owned by the Soho Group. And this was designed by the Zaha Hadid, a very famed architect. This is Hong Huang, a fashion maven. And This is Hong Huang. This is a fashion maven, and she'll be with us these 2 days at the APEC. And among these people, I made a lot of friends with them, simply because for me, when I photograph a person, I really want to understand who the person is. What's the essence of your story? We spent half a day preparing just to get the permission, just to set up the lighting, before Fabrice Berger, global CEO of Airbus, walked into our frame, stood there for 5 minutes, and walked away. So even moments like this to capture, you take a lot of preparation. And of course, our very own Wang Jianling, who is currently China's richest man. About 6 months ago, Fortune magazine called me and said, hey, you know, we got Wang Jianling in our article for a cover article, and you have him for 4 days. I'm like, wow, how much does that worth? And so, for me, it's just a very special insight, a very exclusive insight into a man who is, of course, very known for his business astute. At the same time, as a boss, but at the same time, I want to show two sides of him. The part of him where what you see behind is all owned by the Wanda Group. And then on the other hand, I want to show something that is a bit more human. And so along the time, I felt that for people like this, you know, people shape our times. And just to capture him in a very human moment, I think is quite important. I'm an engineer by training. And so when I graduated, I never really became an engineer. But being a photographer still allows me to go back to what I really love to do. And so this is Westinghouse, one of the top nuclear manufacturers. And I photographed one of the biggest nuclear plants due to open in the next 2 years in the eastern coast of China. I love science as well, and this is the world's largest fixed-lens telescope, photographed for Geo magazine again. And this is just right in Hebei, which is about 2 hours ride from here. I photograph a lot of big companies, a lot of large companies, including Apple, General Electric, and in this case, this is United Technologies, where they are one of the top companies in the world, and this is one of the subsidiaries, Otis, where they've manufactured some of the fastest elevators of our time. I've also photographed for a lot of international companies, including this is a French manufacturer where they sent me to 12 countries to photograph their operations from France to China itself. This is in Shenzhen. And one of the things I find out about businesses like this is businesses are not just institutions, they are also human beings, they are families. This company has lasted for 150 years. Until today, their fifth generation people in the company are still manning the company, and they are spread across 4 continents. So it's just fascinating to see how these companies tick. I've also witnessed the unsung heroes of businesses. People, in this case, part of the Birla Group in India, where I photographed some of their largest plantations in Asia. This plantation is about the size of Singapore, where I grew up. And along the way, I realized there's a lot of strong traditions. Some of these tea planters are multi-generation planters. Their mom's mom has worked in the same plantation about 100 years ago. And so, having the opportunity to travel a lot and see a lot, I find that there's also something I really wanted to give back. A few years ago, I was in New York and Kolkata at the same time, in the same week. And when we talk about New York, we talk about Wall Street, we talk about the glitz and the glamour, we talk about the Times Square. But what I noticed was I saw homeless, the poor, lying on the streets just outside Wall Street, begging for money. As we took a taxi from Kolkata airport into the city, I remembered I saw a lot of people sleeping on the side of the road. I asked the driver, why is this case? And then they said, this is because this is the only public property that they could sleep in. Outside the buildings, it is considered private property. It really led me to ask the question, what does it mean to be poor? Is it better to be poor in Kolkata or poor in New York? It's a very difficult question, but we try our best. I worked with an economist, and together we worked out the economic figures of what you could obtain if you are poor in a country per day per person. We found that in China, the figure is 6.3 yuan a day a person. We took this money, we went to the markets, and this is what we could find. 9 mantos, or a bunch of vegetables. And in every country, we work out a different series of products, a lot of local products, and we photographed between 50 to 100 items, just trying to understand the food choices that would face a person of that country. Since we started this project about 4 years ago, we have covered 21 countries across 6 continents. And we have been blessed, and we found out a bit more about what poverty means. For example, this is in America, in New York, where the poverty line for food is $4.91 US a day a person. This is in South Korea, in Seoul, where you can get 4 plums for about 2,400 won. This is in Brazil. You get about 6 chuchus, a kind of cucumber, for about 2.33 reais. You get about 4 bratwursts. In Germany. And incidentally, the paper, Financial Times, has since closed down. So it's not just people who are affected. Even the media itself gets affected along the way. And in Madagascar, 75% of the population falls below the poverty line, living with less than 1,284 airari a day a person. And so since then, we find that the poverty line is also a shifting target. Poverty lines change with economic changes with the country itself. Within China, the changes are just a bit more drastic. Within a period of 2 years, the poverty line value has doubled, almost doubled. But what we find is food have not necessarily increased by that factor. We have been very lucky because since then, the project has given us a big platform. Just last week, I was in Kuala Lumpur speaking at TEDx KL about this topic itself. And we spoke in front of 2,500 people. And it's an honor to really share this idea and to spread it around. And last but not least, I want to thank my partner, who is my co-founder for the Poverty Line itself. It's Lin Hui Yi. She's just sitting right there. She's standing right now. And she's an economist by training. So if I were to simplify our relationship, I take the photographs, whereas she provides the brains. So, very important person, and we are both very passionate about the poverty line, and we intend to bring this on for the next 20 years. You have any questions about this project at all, feel free to basically approach her or me. Thank you very much.